Hey there, Russ here. Welcome back to the shop. Today I want to talk about glue up methodology. I've done videos in the past, like my one about 5 essential tools around the shop, where I walked around and showed you all the different tape measures and the pencils that I keep around. And I did one on my apron where I showed you everything that's in my apron. Kind of whimsical. Well, I thought I'd do one on my glue up methodology. Let me start by saying gluing up to me is kind of like when I leave the house. I put my hat on before I leave the house. I don't think about it, just something I do. And gluing up, I like it to be the same way, because I'm always gluing something up, whether it's two little pieces that I'm gluing together or a big, huge, major glue up. But gluing up, I don't hate it as far as making it a messy, disorganized task if you don't kind of have things ready. I don't have a glue up area, so the way I do it is, and let me break this down to 3 different categories: to contain the messiness, to apply the glue, and to store the glue. First off, the messiness. Most important thing you can have when you're doing glue ups is right there, water, right there. This is my little spout on my container of water. I keep it in there, has little bottles that I can put in there upside down, and it keeps the thing full. And I have spare bottles down there, so as they get empty, I can go in and get more. So that stays pretty much with water in it. Nice little catch basin. That's an old wash tub. I have a chrome bowl. Anyway, enough about that. It's a great little sink. I can roll it out, or I can use just a bowl that gets a little bit of water and bring it to where I'm working if I want. But having water for cleanup is really nice to have. So if you don't have that, you probably should think about making something. And if you want to see the video on that, I'll leave it in the description so you can go check that out if you want. But water is nice to have around when you do cleanups. The other thing is, to contain the mess, is something under it. Now I have, for my big glue ups, or if I'm going to do a lot of little glue ups at one time, I have a shower curtain I can lay out on there on a large surface and help contain that mess. So that when I get done, then I hang the curtain up, let the glue dry, and it peels right off. But also, most of the time, I'm doing simple glue up, small pieces, and putting pieces together more and more as I go along. And most of my glue ups, these are what I use. And this is just 2 examples. I have a bunch of them around here. These are silicone cookie mats you get in the kitchen department of most of the discount stores, the retail stores. And they're very handy to have. So I keep these around, and I use these all the time for my glue up, and then I just hang them up somewhere to dry out the glue when I'm done, and then it peels right off. Silicone, been a great addition to the shop, at least. Also, I got this out of a kitchen department. This used to be a cookie sheet made of silicone for muffins or something. Anyway, I just cut it into small tubs, and if I need to glue, I can squeeze it in here, use it, and then when I'm done, let it dry out and clean, and put it back here when I'm done. So they're easy cleanup. A couple other things I keep around there is ways to spread the glue. Now, I will say that I've had these for quite a while. I bought them from Rockler. I'm sure I'm not the only one. These things used to sell like hotcakes. They probably still do. And these aren't too bad. Comes with a couple of brushes. This is probably the only one I really used 99% of the time when I had it. But cleaning this up without water is really kind of a pain. And you have to wait so long to let it dry so you can use it. So if you don't have any way to clean up in water, you really got to make sure that your glue ups are far in between so that you can continue to clean it before you use it. These aren't bad, but I actually have found that a year and a half ago or so, I bought these. And again, this was a silicone, and they're in the kitchen department of a discount retail store. And it's just a basting brush and a couple little spatulas. And I use these all the time. They're very handy, and they're actually very easy to clean up. So this is probably what I use mostly for spreading the glue around. Now, I also have, you have to have, for your cleanup, I keep toothpicks in here, and I keep some Q-tips in here to help with my cleanup. And I have these. Yes, that's a little bamboo skewer. And I keep a few of these in here because these are great for cleaning out the little holes on your glue bottles when they start to jam up. These are very handy to have around. Or if you got to put glue inside of a dead hole, like where you drill a hole and you're going to put something in it and glue it in, you have to put glue in there. These are great for that sort of thing. So I keep these pretty close at hand. This is pretty much my go-to stuff for applying the glue. So last but not least is how do I store the glue when I use it. Now I buy mine by the gallons. I've always got an open gallon of glue somewhere, excuse me, in one particular place so I can fill my glue bottles. Now, over the years, I have used lots of different glue bottles, but I've kind of noticed that I've zeroed in on a couple of my favorites now that I almost always use these days. So let's go over some of the ones that I used and that I still use and why I like and dislike them. So first off, let me start with this one. I did this, I don't remember when, but it turned out to be a total failure. It's just a water bottle with a flip lid on it. I think this is an Ice Mountain bottle, but this didn't work out very well at all. I don't know why I haven't thrown it away. So anyway, my next one in here is this one. And I'm sure everybody has seen this. This is a glue bot. I had the lid for about 3 years and I finally lost it. And this thing is probably 10 years old, maybe 12 or 14. I've had it for a long time. And actually, I don't really like it. I didn't like it when it did have the cap. But now that I don't have the cap, I really don't like it. Because the glue in here doesn't dry. It's the glue in the nozzle that dries all the time. And having to clean this every time I use it is a real pain. So I just turned out I don't really like this bottle, this commercial bottle. So my next one, this is number 1 and number 2. So number 3, so if you have a question about any of these in particular, just call it out by number and then I'll know which one you're talking about. So number 3 is just a little honey bottle of honey it used to be. And after I got rid of the honey, I thought this wouldn't be too bad to have. It has a flip lid so it keeps it sealed and I don't lose the lid. As long as it stays on there, I'm happy. But the hole's a little bit big, so it really spreads it out pretty fast. And one thing I kind of liked about it when I thought about it was the fact that I can do that, let it sit up, and let all the glue be ready to go when I'm ready to go. And this was okay, but it's a little bit bottom heavy, and it's easy tipped over in that. So it was okay. But then I went to this bottle. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen one of these. This is actually an old mayonnaise bottle. And I don't even know if I've seen one of these things around anymore. But this thing was actually a pretty good dispenser for glue. Because, first off, there's how you set it. It's set very stable. Doesn't fall no matter where I set it down. When I'm watching myself, when I set it down or not, I know it's going to be there when I pick it up. The lid is a flip lid with the spout here. And it cleans up pretty easily without any problem. And it's easy to apply the glue. This kind of gets in the way a little bit sometimes. But what I don't like about this one more than anything is that it's really a pretty good size hole. It means that the glue really comes out faster. And I have a hard time controlling it if I really want to get a fine bead of glue instead. But overall, this isn't a bad one. This is very close to being one of my favorites, quite frankly. If it wasn't for that little nozzle being so big, this would probably be my favorite. So, moving on, this is a commercial one that I got. It's a Titebond with this little pull lid, and we've all seen these things. They pull really hard after they get a little gummed up, but more than anything, they get jammed up with glue all the time, and it's hard to keep them clean. These things are a pain to clean. So, I don't like these at all. I used it for a while, but... And more than anything, too, is that when I'm ready to use it, it's hard to really get it to all that glue to have to run down here. And then when I got to use it, now I got to open it to use it. And it just seemed kind of clumsy and too big. I don't like the size of it either. Just when you fill this thing up, when it gets two-thirds of the way empty, it takes forever to get the glue back up here to use it. So it's all right, but I'll never buy one of these again, probably. Again, I just usually buy this stuff in a gallon and I fill these up. This is just a little tint bottle for tinting hair. I get these and I help keep my hair tinted silver so that I look older and wiser. Okay. She uses them. Okay, now you know who. Anyway, these aren't too bad. They got a nice long stem on it. Now, this thing does clog up pretty easily, so it's a darn good thing I have these around, because that's how I keep this cleaned out. And since there's no real good lid to fit on that, I could probably make something, but I really never found it necessary as long as I keep that clean to begin with. So when I'm done with it, I make sure that I squeeze it a couple of times, get the lid cleaned off, and then I let the air suck back in, so any glue in there will run down, and from there it'll finish running downhill. And that keeps it clean most of the time. So I don't have to clean it too often. But again, I can't keep it upside down. It takes a while for all that glue to get from here to here after it gets half empty. So it's not real good. For detail stuff, this is the only thing I really have around here. And this thing is actually pretty good for that. It's got a really nice fine tip on it. You fill this thing up with some glue, you can really squeeze the glue out. And if you want, you can cut this back a little bit to get a bigger hole as you go further back if you want to increase the hole size. And they're not very expensive at all. The only thing about these is you gotta clean it when you're done. You can't leave glue in there. I don't care what anybody says. If you do, this thing is going to clog up on you, and then that thing is hell to clean. I can tell you right now. So unless you know something I don't, this is really awesome, but I do keep it clean. So moving on, then I have these type of bottles with the spout. This one I have a makeshift plug in it, and I lost the plug again a long time ago. It's the only problem with that type of bottle. But again, this thing is really big diameter, so it really globs the glue out. And in fact, most of the time, I just don't need that much glue at one time. So it's hard to control the flow of it. Plus, again, tip this thing upside down. It takes forever the glue go from here to here. So I would not buy one of these ever again. I've had this one for a long time, and I really don't even use it. Now, its little brother here is a Rockler. And this is very, very similar to a ketchup bottle dispenser. And those will work just as good as these do. This one has a lid. I haven't lost it yet, but once I do, I may try to find some kind of lid to put on it. But this one, I like these spouts because they stay clean pretty easy just by squeezing it when you're done and let the air suck back to clean it out. And they're easy to clean if you need to clean them out inside there. Again, with a nice little pocket screwdriver or with skewers, you can keep it cleared enough to keep using it. Now, I do keep this one cut at an angle, and I found that angle is really nice when I'm trying to control the flow. So this is one of my favorite bottles to use all the time, and it stays pretty close to where this is one of the two bottles types that I grab a lot to do any kind of gluing. So by far, the best one there is the dispenser bottle, ketchup bottle type thing. So, but my favorite of all is the French's glue bottle. And I'm sure most people have seen this thing. This thing actually is almost 100% perfect. First off, when I get ready to use it, if I'm going to use it, I can leave this sitting in a bench dog hole, and all the glue will be down here where I need it when I'm ready. Then all I have to do is pop the lid, and I can start using it. And for years and years, this lid, the only thing I didn't like is the lid was kind of always in my way when I was trying to dispense it, and I kind of disliked it. And about a month or two ago, I had one of the people that I subscribed to give a quick tip in a little 3-minute video or 2-minute video, and he told everybody that this lid on the French's mustard, if you push it down, you can actually lock it in place. I never knew that. I've never seen that. I never paid attention to that happen. That really makes that lid a lot better now for staying out of my way. And I just found out. Sometimes people got to spell things out to you. So I'm not quite as clever as you might have thought I was. That is such a silly thing to know. And I should have known this years and years ago. But anyway, that has made this my favorite one. And what I really like about these is that to clean them, it's pretty easy too. All I have to do to clean them is just grab one of my bamboo skewers, and I can just go in there and give it a quick clean out. And now this thing is ready to use. And when I'm done, I can just close it up. Wipe it off is optional because it takes a lot of glue to gum this thing up. But once you close it up and put it away, it's great. By far, my favorite is its little brother though. Same as that one, only smaller. And why I like this one is because it takes less time for that glue to go from here to here when you have to keep it upside down. So this is probably the one I would go to most of the time for doing my glue ups. Same thing as the other one. Nice small size, easy to fill up. Takes only a few seconds for me to grab the bottle. This has a big enough opening that it's easy to pour from the gallon container into this bottle, which I also like, because that isn't true of all of these. Some of these have a pretty small opening to try to pour into. My favorite by far. So anyway, that's my methodology, and this is how I do it. I don't have to think about it. Most of this stuff I have these sitting around in different places, so if I need a bottle, excuse me, if I need a bottle of glue, I can grab almost any, but most of these I almost never use. These are my favorite right here. So anyway, I just thought I'd share with you how I do mine, because gluing up is something that you do all the time, and it's almost as much not fun as sanding. Pretty close second. And I've actually turned it into where I don't really think about it. It's like putting my hat on when I go outside. It's pretty straightforward and simple to do. So how do you do it? You know, what's some little tricks and things that you do? You know, how do you set up for applying the glue? How do you contain the mess? Just curious. Always looking for new ideas, and guess where they usually come from? Yes, you guys. So, if you have any questions or comments about this, any suggestions of what I'm not doing, you can let me know. Something I need to mention, because I don't edit and I can't remember when I did this. I don't know if I told you or not, I also have this. And this is just a prescription bottle. I do have my toothpicks, and I have some Q-tips in here for when I'm doing glue ups. I think I forgot to mention that when I did the other. So, it is handy to have toothpicks and Q-tips in here, as well as the bamboo skewers. So, anyway, if you have comments or ideas, leave them in the comments. If you like this video or you learned something here, or maybe I just made you do a little bit of smile for a second, hit that like button. It lets me know that I'm doing the right thing and I'm going the right way. Most importantly though, please come back again, because I'm nowhere near done. Thanks, and we'll see you again soon.